Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the deferred sales trust is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated assets, defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax so you can create and preserve more wealth, or help your clients, friends, and family do the same. Hey, today I'm your host, Brett Swarts, and each and every episode I'm bringing on some of the best real estate, financial, wealth, and business minds in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming expert CRE secrets as well for all of our commercial real estate experts out there and people who are trying to be experts in that. We so appreciate everyone out there as we share our journey. Today is no exception. I'm so excited to have with us from North Carolina. He is a Tar Heels fan, by the way, in case you're wondering. And he grew up actually in Indiana. And he's going to teach us all things, or not all things, but some things about AI. 5 incredible AI tools you won't believe exist. Please welcome to the show with me, Phil Stringer. Phil, how you doing?
Man, I am doing so great. It's an honor to be here with you. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, Phil, could you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I was born in Indiana, grew up a basketball fan because we were kind of close to Chicago. And so Michael Jordan was, big at that point. They were winning championships. And so always followed Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls. He was a Tar Heel, always been a Tar Heels fan. Ended up moving to North Carolina, I think when I was 12. So North Carolina really is home for me. And now, what I'm doing, I'm focusing on artificial intelligence, specifically in the real estate space, to help real estate agents, investors figure out how to use AI to move the needle. It's great that we can use it to save a little bit of time by creating property descriptions or putting a Facebook post up, and that's fine. But I really wanted to dive in and say, okay, what are some tools that we can use to actually move the needle, increase revenue, right? Increase efficiency, productivity, that's actually going to change the game. And so that's been my focus for the last while. I am now full-time doing this, traveling around speaking about AI at different conferences. I was a chief operating officer of a mega team real estate brokerage in North Carolina. And within the last month, man, we've decided to go full-time in the AI space, and that's what we're focusing on.
Amazing. Absolutely. We're going to dive into 5 incredible tools you won't believe exist with Phil Stringer, and how to build your business with AI, and really any business that is, but we'll be focusing on real estate professionals today. But that being said, Phil, I want to take one other step back. I believe we've all been given certain gifts, and these gifts have been given to us to be a blessing and help to others. So I'm curious, go back to the younger days, right? When you're practicing your jump shot, right? And your crossover dribble and your ways to follow, emulate like someone like a Michael Jordan. But I'm curious what Phil what is your gift that you've been given? How does that help how you help and bless people today?
Yeah, I think, since I couldn't be a professional basketball player and win championships, I guess I had to do plan B, right? I've always been good with people. I love relationships. I love connecting with folks and learning more about their situation. And I've always been a helper, right? So I enjoy helping people. And so for me, this type of work, learning different industries, different businesses, and how I can help them be more efficient certainly plays into my natural strengths and what I enjoy doing. But I found out pretty early that I was good at sales. You either love sales or you hate it. I feel like it's an extreme. And one of my family members was an employee at GE, General Electric. And I ended up getting an entry-level job as an 18-year-old kid right out of high school with GE Money, their finance division. And within a couple months, there was an opportunity to join the sales team. Now, I didn't really care. All I thought was, well, there's an additional opportunity for money there because there's commission on the sales team. So I said, sure, why not? Let's try it. Had no idea if I would like it, if I would hate it. And within my first year, I had made it all the way to the #1 sales agent in the world with GE in all countries. And they were kind of surprised because I was a teenager, right? But I really, really dove deep into, okay, how can I become the best sales agent that I possibly can? because for me, it wasn't good enough just to make extra commission. I wanted to be the very best at it. You know, I'm very competitive. And so I just tried to hone my craft and worked my way to, you know, number one agent in the world at GE Money, and did that pretty quickly. So that's something that I'm proud of, but that's also gives you a little bit of a, I guess, a look into young Phil's mind on, you know, he's pretty driven, but he also loves people, loves sales, loves connecting with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep that in mind. By the way, you can learn more about Phil Stringer by going to philstringer.com. It's philstringer.com. You can also search on Instagram at Phil Stringer. So keeping that in mind, let's dive right into the topic at hand, right? Which is 5 incredible AI tools you won't believe even exist. Before we even dive into those 5 tools, though, I want you to talk about what's the number one secret to growing your real estate business with AI, and then we can dive into the actual practical tools.
Yeah, you know, for me, the biggest secret would be to learn how to use these tools like, say, ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is very widely used because there's a free version and it's very widely available, right? Use these tools, but learn how to use them the right way. Here's what I think is happening. I think everything in the world is AI now because it's all over the place. We're hearing about it. It's the biggest thing. It's really the biggest technological advancement since the internet. And companies are jumping on this thing and they're using AI as a marketing term. Okay. So there are tools and softwares that are being promoted as AI powered and nothing has changed, right? It's just ChatGPT opened our eyes to artificial intelligence, and now everyone's talking about AI. So I'll give you an example. There's a calendar that I've used for the last 3 years where if I have a gap in my calendar, it will move some things around to give me the most efficient schedule for that day, right? So if it's not a meeting like, say, this one where it's specific on the calendar and I can't move it, if it's a variable, it'll move it around to specific times and make my day the most efficient. It's a pretty neat tool. Well, after ChatGPT came out, within the last, I think, 6 months, this tool is now promoting it themselves as the first AI-powered calendar. Well, I've been using it the whole time and no functionality has changed. And so I think, one, we need to be careful because everything is marketed as AI-powered because that's a marketing term and it's a hot term now, right? But two, we're getting very overwhelmed because there's hundreds of tools. And so I feel the stress, I feel the overwhelm because I'm going around speaking, you know, all the time, different places. I'm flying to Canada tomorrow. We're doing an event in Vancouver, then we're going up to Kelowna. And every time I do these events, it's almost like there's relief when they are in these events because I tell people, hey, I'm here to condense time for you because I'm going to tell you a few tools that are really good that you should be looking out for. You don't have to worry about the 100 other tools that are constantly being marketed to you every day because that creates such overwhelm and people don't know what to do. That creates inaction. And obviously inaction isn't going to move the needle. So what I tell people is focus on 2 tools. So even if I give you 5 today, I would focus on 2 that you feel like might be able to be implemented in your business that could move the needle for you. Once you've mastered those 2, maybe add in another one or another one, but you can't try and do 10 tools at once or you'll be below average at all 10.
Got it. So it's key to understand that AI is now being, presented as it's a marketing ploy, right? For some, and it's becoming an overwhelming situation because it's just flooding, everything's flooding the system, right? And so the key is to master, let's say 2 tools at a time, and focus like a laser on that. I think it's kind of like the big domino, right? Effect, Phil, right? Like what's the one big domino in your business? If you can knock over, would make all the rest of the stuff irrelevant or just,
Right.
less painful. Maybe like what's the one AI tool, if you could master, for your particular business, it's going to be a different answer for different people, right? That would help to move everything forward and make it irrelevant. And so with that being said, Bill, let's dive into that. If you had to choose even just one for a real estate professional, that's the big domino that if they master this one right now, generally speaking, would make the biggest difference? And you might apply that to a new agent, a intermediate agent, and maybe even like a masterful agent who's been doing it a long time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if there's one, if I were just to say blanket statement, because people ask me, that's probably the number one question I get asked when I'm at a conference. People come up to me and they're like, hey, what's the one tool that I should use as a real estate agent? The answer is always going to be, it depends on what you're focusing on. Like, I can't give a blanket statement of like, hey, here's the tool. But if I were forced to, I would say ChatGPT is the blanket tool where if you can learn to use it the right way, it will give you the most bang for your buck. Now, that being said, my answer when I'm having a conversation with someone, and it's not just a podcast where I'm going to say, here's a blanket statement, my answer is always going to be, what are you trying to accomplish? Right? So I want to learn about what they're currently good at, what's their marketing right now, where are they weak, and where do they need to improve? So once I have that conversation and I can get to understand their business and their goals, their market, their price point, their target audience, those type of things, then I can say, okay, well, it sounds like you should focus on this tool here. So for an example, let's say there's a team who really lacks in short form content on Instagram and TikTok, but they want to get there. They know that they need to do short form video, but they're not super consistent. Well, then I would tell them to use this tool called Opus Pro, which is one of the ones we're going to look at today, to help their short form content. So again, it's just tailored to what they need and what they're weak at, what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think one way to think about this is like it's called a SWOT analysis, right? I used to call it a SWOT analysis in business school. And essentially it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, right? And it's not a one size fits all. And the key is, hey, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are some of the threats, right? And let's take that analysis and let's be thoughtful about this. And then let's look at that one big domino. Is that a fair summary, Phil?
So true. Yep. I love that. That's perfect.
Excellent. So I think let's dive into the top five. Let's start with Opus Pro because you just mentioned it, and then we can kind of work our way down.
Absolutely. And do you want me to share my screen?
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Let me give you share capability. Okay. By the way, you can learn more about Phil by going to philstringer.com, As well, you have the opportunity to connect with him on Instagram and Facebook at Phil Stringer. Yeah.
So you should be able to see my screen now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is Opus Clip. The URL for this is opus.pro. And essentially what this does is you can upload any video. So let's say we recorded this podcast, right? You could upload this podcast, say, and what it's going to do is it's going to crop it to vertical for short form content, for YouTube Shorts, for Instagram Reels, for TikToks. It's going to add captions automatically based on the transcriptions, put emojis in there. And the real power in this thing, I'm going to scroll down here, is the AI curation. So they call this Clip Genius. But what it does is it analyzes the video based on the transcript of what we're talking about. And then it will say, hey, you know what? This portion right here is a really good hook. So anyone who's big in the short form game knows that you have less than 3 seconds to capture the attention, or the person's just going to swipe on by. You have to capture the attention of your audience in the first 3 seconds or less. And so this picks a good hook that's going to capture their attention. And then it pairs it with relevant highlights based on the transcription of the video and its understanding of what you're trying to talk about. So this is really powerful because you can just upload any type of video. And then what's going to happen, I'll show you in the back end. I uploaded I think it was an 11-minute short, or 13-minute, here you go, team meeting from one of our team meetings when I was chief operating officer at our local brokerage. And it gives me, from that 13 minutes, here you go, it gives me, I believe, 8 different options that I can post on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So it gives me a description of what the video is about. It gives me the full transcription of what was said below. And then it gives me a virality score of what it thinks it might go viral, right? And so you can change the color of the text. You can change the type of font to match your branding. You can go in, edit the words, edit the emojis. But the power here is that you don't have to be a video editor. And honestly, you don't even have to pay an editor. Now, what I always recommend is you either don't have to pay a video editor and you can do this yourself, or give this tool to your video editors and have them 10x the output for you, because now you have all of these different Instagram Reels, TikToks, whatnot that you can use for your social media content. So that would be number one.
Absolutely amazing, right? And by the way, wow, we use this exact AI system, Opus.pro, and I do exactly what you said, Phil. I have our video editor do all of that, and we've 10x the output. So everything Phil is saying is exactly right. And we've practically have done this, and it's been amazing, because prior to, let's say a year ago, we just started Opus Pro like 3 months ago. We were manually doing this, and it's just, it's time consuming and it's tedious, but this is going to help speed up. Any other tips on Opus Pro to maximize it, or just kind of, don't overthink it and just put it in there and
don't
go?
overthink it, do it, put the video in, see what it spits out. There's some updates coming in the future. They're making it better all the time. It's so cheap. I think it's like $15 a month, right? You go in, you drop videos in, it cuts it, spits it out. And it's really, really a time saver, totally worth the money, and something that any industry, it doesn't matter if it's real estate or whatever. I mean, for marketing purposes, it's very powerful.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go to number two. So Opus Pro, Opus.pro is number one. Let's go number two.
Number one. Number two, I'm going to show you Descript. So this, again, paired with Opus, is very powerful. So a lot of times when people say, hey, what are the two that I should pick? A lot of times it's Opus paired with Descript. And so I'm going to share my screen and then switch over to Descript. So you should be able to see this now.
Yeah.
This looks familiar, right? This is that clip that we just drug into Opus, and this is Opus's clip that it just spit out for us. What I did is I just drug that video into Descript. And what happens with Descript is you now have text on the left-hand side. This is the full transcription. Now, if you were to say, Phil, I'm not a video editor, I can't edit video, it's impossible, I don't want to learn, it's too hard for me. After this session right here, you will be a video editor, because if you can edit a Word document, you can now edit video. And what I mean by that is, if you look through this video, this is the transcription of what I'm saying. Let's say I wanted to edit out one specific word. I can click here like it's a Word document, hit delete, backspace, and that word is removed. It edits the video to the word. Well, what if I wanted to take out an entire sentence? I just select it, hit backspace, the video is edited to the words. So you can literally go through this, and if you said the word you could take out the If you had a silence that you wanted to be condensed, you can take that out. If you had a specific sentence that you didn't want, right, in there, you just highlight it, you hit delete, and you're good to go. So that's one powerful thing with Descript. Another cool thing with Descript is you can upload about 15 minutes of your voice. So this can be video or audio of you speaking. And then it will process an AI generated clone of your voice, to where if you were to type something in and hit play, it's you speaking those words. And so this is a really powerful tool for video editing, because in this specific video, I had a sentence where I was talking to one of my agents, where I said, hey, Robert, something, something, something. Well, I don't really need that on Instagram, right? The value that I'm providing on Instagram isn't to just Robert. So I drag this video in, it's been edited, it's already perfect with Opus. I take out that one sentence where I'm speaking to Robert, and now I have this entire video. I didn't have to learn how to edit, and it's completely done.
Oh my goodness. And by the way, we have these scripts, and I don't even know if my video editor even knows, but one of the most painful, I call it's kind of video ditch digging, is taking out the ums and it's not only is it time consuming, but it's just energy draining, right? And it's tedious. And now what you're saying, and I hope if you're hearing this, you need to go to our YouTube channel, Capital Gains Tax Solutions and our expert CR Secrets, and watch this, because what Phil is breaking down for us on video, how simple this is. And you can hire somebody to do this. You can train them how to do this. Phil, that's amazing. Let's go on to number three, due to time.
Yeah, let's do number three. And number three for me is a tool called Tactic. Let me show you here. It looks like this. TACTIQ. Now, this links to your video conference software. So this could be Google Meet, Zoom, MS Teams, whatever. When you're done with a meeting, it automatically creates an entire summary. So this is the back end. This was a coaching call that I did, and I don't even know what's on here. So we're learning together. I haven't looked at this. Gives me the agenda, right? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It gives me a summary of the call, right? Tony's been in real estate since 2008, wants to revamp his business, gives action items for each person, right? And then down here is the entire transcription of every single word that was said on that coaching call. Now, imagine how you can use this in business. Like obviously in meetings, this is an amazing tool to do a full summary, to send it to your team, whatnot. But as a real estate professional as well, it can be very powerful because if you do a buyer consult over Zoom, or if you do a listing presentation over Zoom, can you imagine the power of you essentially saying, hey, 5 minutes after that call, boom, here's a summary, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it was so great to meet you today. Here's a summary of what we talked about. Here's some action items on what I'm going to do for you moving forward. If you choose to use us, it's just a very powerful tool where you don't have to be taking notes during your meeting. You're now free to completely engage with the customer, right? And you can build those relationships and not have to worry about taking notes during the call.
Absolutely amazing. By the way, it's tactiq.io. Oh my goodness. My mind is blown already. Again, let's keep going. Phil, number 4.
This one is more of a fun one, but there are some practical uses. So this is Firefly. This is an Adobe product. And essentially what you can do, there's a couple different things you can do with this. You can create images out of nothing. So you could say, whatever you want. I don't know. Pick an animal for me, will you?
Yeah, a dog.
Okay, so I've got a dog riding an elephant on Mars, right? Like you can literally type in anything you want. It's going to generate 4 different options for you, and then you can continue to generate further, right? So this is really good if you, it gets it kind of close. Actually, that does not look great at all. So let's try it again. Let's do a specific type of job. Let's do a German Shepherd and see if we get something there. But you basically put in what you want. Like you could say anything. It's going to create anything from, that's kind of funny what it does. But a more practical use of this is what I call this generative fill right here.
Okay.
And you can upload images and edit them, right? So you can have fun with typing in weird things, creating images, and it actually does a really, really good job if you're specific with your prompt. So like I put in just some random thing, but you can get very specific with what you want. But if I wanted to upload an image and edit something, this is amazing. So I think I've got an iStock photo. Yeah, so this is a photo of a house, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say I am listing this home. And I'm like, man, I hate that the owner of the home didn't move their truck, right? What I can do is I can essentially just select the area that I want to remove, right? Like I can do this here. And I can remove this, and it's going to generate what it thinks, using AI, what it thinks should fill in the image from all of the stuff around it. And so you think about photos on the inside. If you've got like, a rug or a couch or a pillow that you want to remove, you can do this. And let's see what it does. We're going to do it in front of each other together and see how it fills it. Boom. Look at that. It created the trees. It fixed the driveway. And you've got different options that you can select from. If you don't like that, go to that one. If you don't like that, go there. And you have different options for the generative fill. And you can see how valuable that can be. If you need to remove something, you can also insert something, right? So like you could go in here and you could actually add a basketball hoop, right? Which, I wouldn't say to do this on your listing photo if it's not there, right? But you would essentially just select the area that you want, and it would create, a basketball goal. You just type in what you want here. I'm going to say basketball hoop. You hit generate, and it takes the area that you have selected, and it will generate a bet. Now that looks, not great, but you can change the different the different type. And so it's just interesting how this technology is moving. It's not perfect yet, but removing objects is so easy with Firefly, and you don't have to be a graphic designer. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's firefly.adobe.com, firefly.adobe.com. Amazing. That's number 4. Let's go to number 5.
Yep. So number 5, I'm going to go with HeyGen. This is HeyGen. The technology on AI avatars is getting better and better every day. Okay. And the power here is, it used to be to where you paid $1,000 a year and you uploaded 15 minutes of studio quality video, and it would generate an AI avatar of yourself to where you could type something in, hit play, and it's you speaking, right? That did not look great. Like, it looked kind of weird, creepy. The software, this technology is getting better to where I believe in the next 6 months, it's going to get to the point where you basically can't tell that it's not you. But this HeyGen company really took it to the next level. They have a beta out right now where you just shoot 2 minutes of video on your phone. You just do a selfie video, you upload it, and then you have your own avatar where you can type in any text, hit play, and it's like 80% of the way there to where it looks really, really good. Before, I wouldn't have recommended any of these because it looked too creepy, but this is good enough to where I would be comfortable putting out content, or at least training videos for my team. And all I have to do is paste in the text. I don't have to shoot the video. It's done. I mean, think about training videos, just training videos alone for your team, courses, onboarding. This can save you so much money and time. You don't have to buy the camera equipment, the lighting. You don't have to do anything. You just create the script, paste it in, hit play, and it's you speaking that clip. It's unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. Kind of scary too, right? Because then if people start to, I don't know if they can, but maybe 2FA authentication, right? To before they make these things, so that people aren't making things and acting as you. So, Oh my goodness. HeyGen.com. It's app Hey, H-E-Y, gen.com. Phil, this is amazing. Those are 5 tips. You ready for the lightning round?
I figure if we can do a bonus tip, would anyone appreciate a bonus?
Oh, everyone loves a bonus.
We got our 5, but this is my last bonus one. Yes. This is called Designer. It's DESIGNRR.io. What this does is you import any type of content. It could be a blog, a podcast, a video, a PDF, whatever it is. You upload that content. It creates an ebook or a flip book out of that content. So let's say we uploaded the video of this podcast to Designer. It would create an ebook with the contents of what we talked about. It's not a transcription. It's the understanding of the content we're talking about. And it would create an ebook with the top 5, whatever AI tools, right? Now think of how this can be valuable for your business. You've already created the content, whether it's video, blog, whatever. Now throw it into Designer. You have an ebook now, and you could say, hey, I just did my podcast on the top 5 AI tools. Here's my ebook download for free. But you have that as a lead magnet to where they put in their name, email, and phone. So for like real estate agents, this is huge because they could write a blog about the top 5 tips before selling your home, turn that into an ebook, have it as a lead magnet to capture the information for that download. Now, what are you capturing? You're capturing leads for people who want to know the top 5 tips before selling their home. So they're probably going to be selling their home in the future or know someone who will. So this is a great way to generate leads using AI, and that's Designer, DESIGNRR.io.
My mind is blown. Oh my goodness. This is just so amazing. Those are 6. Those are just 6, everybody, right? Now, to learn more about how Phil's going to help you implement and do all of these things, go to philstringer.com, philstringer.com. That being said, Phil, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's go.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget make sure to tell yourself to do?
If I were to go back to where I was 20, I would just tell myself to keep going, man. Like, there are so many hurdles and so many things that will set you back and get you disappointed. And I think the disappointment of those hurdles stopped me from moving forward. And it actually created inaction. I got afraid and I stopped pushing forward. But the one thing that I've learned is that even the wrong step, you'll be able to course correct. So take the step, whether it's right or wrong. You'll find out if it's wrong. You'll be able to course correct, but at least you'll continue to move. Stop with the inaction and just go.
Amazing. I absolutely love that. But I'm talking about, I've been sensing it's fear or faith. We can live in fear or faith. And every time we choose fear, our confidence goes down, right? Our momentum goes down and it just stagnates. Every time we choose faith, our confidence goes up and we actually grow. And it's definitely, but every single day. And it's funny because even after you achieve success, these things don't go away. Like it's like a new day of like fear or faith, right? And it's like, what are you going to practice? Doesn't mean, and obviously if you're choosing more faith, you're going to strengthen that muscle, right? If you're choosing more fear, unfortunately, it's going to hurt you. So, okay. Number two, number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year.
Ooh, probably The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan.
Okay. Excellent. And then question number three, what are you most curious about right now?
I'm most curious on, obviously, since I live in the world, AI and how they're going to control this thing. You know, you mentioned it with that HeyGen tool. Like, hey, we can now clone your voice and your likeness. How are they going to regulate this? So my curiosity is, man, what's the government going to do? So that's probably my biggest curiosity, but that's because I live in the AI world.
Absolutely. I'm curious too. I think everyone is. Question number four. What's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Oh man. That's a good question. I don't know about quote, but I would say leadership theme. It's for me, I'm a leader who I'm not like, I don't over analyze my employees. When I lead, I want it to be collaborative. So I think the overarching theme for me within my leadership is to hear everyone out, to be collaborative, and to not always think that my way is right. I try and stay as open-minded as I can to say, hey, what are your thoughts? To hear everyone. Now, as a leader, you're going to have to be the one to finally make the decision. But if I'm sitting there and I'm only thinking about what I think is right, and I'm not open-minded to the people that I've put around me, I think I'm doing myself a disservice. And so I would just say staying open-minded, staying introspective, and constantly trying to evaluate yourself to say, hey, am I doing the right thing here? And listening to outside sources.
Excellent. That's amazing. I love that, by the way. We are recording this towards the end of 2023. So what's the one big domino, Phil, for you and your business, if you can knock over by the end of the year, that would make the biggest impact for you and your team?
Biggest thing at the end of the year, I would say, would to be a continual learner. Don't stop learning. And, I've spent hours and hours and hours studying AI tools to get my time back. And I'm big on productivity. I'm big on efficiency. I want to automate whatever I can automate. But there's never a point where I have arrived. Even within AI, there's new stuff all the time. There's new things to learn. And so I would say the biggest thing is just keep learning, keep being a student. You've never arrived. You've never gotten to that point where it's like, all right, I'm done. Just keep pushing, keep learning.
Excellent. Last question, Phil. After all your success, helping all the people you've helped and making an impact on the lives you have already, what would you say is the one practice, maybe you just kind of answered it before, but maybe another practice to help you stay centered in your values and stay encouraged to charge forward to reach new heights?
Yeah, I grew up in a home that, a Christian home, and my dad was a pastor. And so I would always go to church. Like that was my upbringing. And I think I've learned a lot of values through the church world that I can also apply in business. But I think overall, it's respecting others and never putting myself in front of someone else. So in a business deal, I don't ever want to put myself in front of them. I always want to try and provide as much value as I can. I'm always going to be super honest. So when it comes to money and different things, I feel like a lot of people can be dishonest, but reputation matters to me. I want to provide as much value as I can. I want to be as honest as I can. And I want the person who I'm doing a deal with to say, man, we trust this guy. And so I feel like there's a lot of those values that I grew up with that I can also apply in business as well.
Amazing. This is Phil Stringer, buddy. I want to thank you for being on the podcast, Phil. I want to encourage you to keep being great with people, keep being a person who helps and enjoys helping people, and keep being great at sales and communication, right? To help people take action, not just take information on, but take action. So keep doing that, Phil. One last time, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, philstringer.com. So it's PHILSTRINGER.com. That's, it's got my travel schedule on there. It's got my academy. I do a 12-week AI academy to teach people how to use these tools practically in their business. And so that's definitely a place where actually, if anyone is interested in taking it further with that academy, you'll see it on my website. But we have a 50% off promo running now for October. So you can put in the promo code ELITE PROMO, ELITE PROMO. When you go to checkout, it gives you 50% off. So running a big promo for October on that. But yeah, Instagram's probably the way that you can communicate with me. If you send me a DM, Instagram's @PhilStringer.
Amazing. Thank you, Phil. I also want to thank all of our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the deferred sales trust is an amazing way for you to exit highly appreciated assets and connect with someone like Phil Stringer to learn how to level up all of your business with AI. Is a great way to create and preserve more wealth. We're also streaming expert CRE secrets. Again, we appreciate everyone out there. I want to encourage you to check out the brand new book, Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. It actually just hit #1 bestseller on Amazon. We have people like Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank in the book, and it'll give you some secrets too for exiting highly appreciated assets. So appreciate everyone out there. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share this with